capital S, capital C, capital E, capital N on the Facebook fan page. Also, Stoppage Time FC is the Facebook group. Stoppage Time FC is the Twitter handle run by Zach. Also, THE.SCEN on Instagram and SCEN underscore THE, the Twitter. We are everywhere. We're even on Twitch, THE underscore SCEN. So I have Joe, who has the haircut of a man that's won 20-something games in a row. You win 20 in a row in all.
Got to get the fresh cut when that's going on.
You got to get a fresh trim. We have Zach, who is in a very fresh jersey, as he has an advantage going into the Champions League next week. So he's dressed for the occasion. And myself in this raggedy black t-shirt. That's what you wear when you are in the Europa and you are in 10th place in your league. This is what you wear when you are in the situation that I have. But nevertheless, let's get to it. Zach, Joe, how you all doing? And what's going on in the world of the beautiful game?
After you, Zachary.
Oh, okay.
After you, sir.
I'm good, man. I'm excited to be here. I am ready to talk about the beautiful game. I want to hint on something in specific that has to do with the last Chelsea match with United. So if we've got a few minutes, I'd like to hit on that because I want to get your opinions on something.
I definitely want to talk about your last match. It is and to be fair, this is not trolling on you.
Nope.
It's something about the Premier League as a whole that I really have grown to dislike this season. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get to that for sure. Joe, what's going on with you, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. We got another W on the books today. 4-1 against Wolves. We're the only game in town today for the Premier League for match day 29, and put in another win, and finally had a striker get a brace. They scored 2 goals. Gabby Jesus put in 2 in the second half. So real happy to see our strikers actually starting to put in goals and not relying on our midfielders and central defenders.
Wasn't that match like 1-0 at like the 74th or 79th minute, and it ended like 4-1?
Correct. There was a lot of scoring at the end. What happened was Wolves started pressing forward more to actually try to get it once they had that equalizer, and it just kind of opened up on the back end, and our counterattack kind of took care of that real quick.
Old strategy gotten.
I don't work out for him. The exact date, but you all haven't lost since what, Christmas?
November, the Tottenham game, where Jose set up shop and had 10 dudes behind the ball and scored 2 ridiculous counterattack games. So it's been since November since they've lost a match.
Sheesh.
We are very close to the all-time unbeaten record. So we're slowly creeping up there.
Yeah, I think even your most diehard Liverpool, diehard Man U, diehard everybody else in the Prem, I think has pretty much come to the acceptance that this is over.
This shit was wrapped up 3-4 weeks ago. I mean, ain't nothing changed in the last month that we didn't already know, a while ago.
Right.
Zach, I agree with you.
I think we said it on the show. Once it got to, I think once the point gap got to like 6,
mm-hmm.
It was done. At that point, Joe,
because they had 6, they had 6 and a game in hand at that point. Yeah, it was
like, and Joe being the ever humble soul, or fake reverse psychology, I don't know which one it is. Oh, you never know. City's gonna. No, they're not. City's not gonna see.
No,
it's not. Gonna,
City doesn't City in the Prem.
No,
City only cities in the Champions League.
We're the only team that is mathematically unable to be relegated at this point in the season. So no matter what happens the rest of the way, we could lose the rest of the way, but we will not be relegated. So,
which is, even though that's a weird stat,
it is.
To be safe and relegate, even though City has like -8 chance of getting relegated, to be like, yeah, on March 1st, we're done.
With 11 games to go, we're okay.
You could just start the academy the rest of the way and still walk away with the title probably.
City's second string could honestly win the title.
And there's not a single guy that we count on that is now hurt. Everybody is back in contention as we're continuing.
You better knock on wood, bro.
Hey,
that's gonna come out.
I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but it's there.
Now, Zach, I want to get to you.
Yeah, man.
I think I know where this is gonna go, but I'm gonna give you the floor. Go ahead.
Well, if you want to talk about the game on Sunday, I could have spent 97 minutes watching paint dry, and that shit would have been more exciting than what happened at Stamford Bridge. That was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. But the thing that intrigued me the most was what happened after the match. I don't know if any of y'all watched it. I don't know if any of you caught the commentary from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But this man went full-blown conspiracy theory and was blaming the Chelsea website and the Chelsea app for influencing calls on penalties this season. He went back and was blaming Frank Lampard, and he, like, the man went full blown off the fucking rails. I literally sat there, and I know everybody's seen this meme of that cat, and he's got a giant black spot where his chin is, so it looks like his mouth is always.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just sat there like in awe. I couldn't believe that he was literally going to go full blown conspiracy theory about a penalty that was played off of the United player. Penalty that didn't get called on a team that over the last 3 years has been gifted the most penalties in the league, and it's not even close.
That is unbelievable. I didn't see any of that this weekend because I was down in Tampa.
Hit that YouTube and look up.
He said that?
Yes.
Yeah, the Chelsea app.
Yes,
the Chelsea app, the Chelsea website.
Chelsea, yeah. He went on
in-game decisions.
Lampard, Klopp.
These dudes are delusional, man. Like, that is insane.
Somehow in real time, the ref is going to pull out his phone and be like, "Let me check the fifth stand," which is the Chelsea app. Let me check the fifth stand, see what they got to say about this. And allegedly, the ref went up to Harry Maguire and said that I can't award this penalty, even though I think it's a penalty, because how would it look? Bruh, come on. Like,
first of all,
that's up there with the hypocrisy level of the La Liga president that I was talking about in group.
You still on that, huh?
On par with that, dude. Like, that is absurd. Like you said, like, Man United gets penalties awarded in almost every match.
Listen, man.
I don't want to hear that.
No. I guarantee you, if there's an all-time penalties awarded table, they lead this by a distance. Going back to Fergie time back in the day. And then, Zach, you talk about the last 3 years. I thought I read this somewhere, but I think it's like 30-something. It's a ridiculous number. Like, it's high. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to hear that from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. His bigger problem is the fact that he goes to every traditional Big Six game and parks the bus. The same things that Man United ran Jose out of town for, he's done for this entire year. I think it's no go against Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and who else? And Tottenham. I think it's no goals from open play.
Yep.
And two, get a penalty against Tottenham. One penalty against Tottenham.
Yep. That was the game they lost 6-1.
Oli, I don't want to hear from you.
34 penalties that they've earned in the last 3 years alone. 34.
Can we throw some air quotes on that earned as well?
Gifted.
earned. And who takes all those penalties? Bruno Fernandes, who gets all of the awards and accolades because he gets spot kicks every game.
That's tough for me, though. I really like Bruno, though. I think he's
great. He's absolutely a great player, but he's got more Premier League Players of the Month awards than like people who are better than him. And they just keep handing it to him every month. Here you go.
Here's my question, is Zach, Joe. I want to get your opinion on this. Has the Premier League in the big matches, has it become too tactical?
For certain managers, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think absolutely certain managers are just looking to get a point out of the match and not worrying about playing attractive football or playing their particular style of football that they play against everybody else. They just are looking to get a point, get a result, and that's about it. And if that's all they get out of the match, they're cool. And then they'll just beat up on the other teams.
I think it also might be a product of where we're at in the season. You know, it's a foregone conclusion that City's going to walk away with the league. And so the rest, you have, 4 or 5 teams.
The rest of the league is like, you know what? Forget it.
Well, I mean, realistically, though, you have 4 or 5 teams who are all vying for 3 spots. And so you look at top 6 matchups, a point is a must. And so you have teams that are like, and the prime example was Chelsea Man United this Sunday. Neither team cared to actually take the chance to win that match. They just wanted to get the point, survive, and move on. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. But then you factor in like a Chelsea situation. Well, they have a brand new manager who is only 9 games in. So he's trying to get his tactical, fix on things. Then you have Jose, who is just Jose. So that's what he does. He plays 10 behind the ball, and you call that good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at a 7-point gap between Liverpool in 6th place, or Everton in 7th place, and Man United in 2nd. They have 50. So there's a lot of teams still vying for prime real estate in those Champions League spots.
And there's a lot of 6-point matchups coming up in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
It's all about those Champions League spots now, because we've talked about that before, about how important that money is. So their managers might be just thinking of, I need to position myself best to remain in that race.
But what I didn't like, okay, Chelsea has a new manager, still trying to work things out. Only Gunnar Solskjaer has been there 2 years. And they didn't make an attempt to win. Like they made no attempt. You can tell me about this bogus penalty. They did not try. Like literally didn't try.
Yep.
And it's like, but here's the cold part. Man United has dropped points against terrible teams.
Mm-hmm.
So even that strategy of we'll tie against the good teams and blow out everybody else, that ain't really worked for you.
Yep.
They lost to Sheffield United,
and that's
at Old Trafford.
And that's what I had brought up in the last couple shows. I said, their results and their wins are not against good teams, and so I wanted to see what they actually had, were made of. There is not 1% of my body that believes that Man United will finish second. Not a chance.
I don't think.
Not with that strategy involved, in my opinion.
They're not good enough for that strategy, to me. And I think I think City will beat them anyway, but they will drop points to people that they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they've shown that.
So Zach, I think you're right. They're gonna push that strategy, and they're gonna end up fighting for fourth.
Yes,
playing around.
They're gonna fuck around. They're gonna fuck around and end up in the Europa.
While I understand the strategy, I don't think as a manager I could sit here and look at my guys and say we really tried our best today, and we're gonna try to get a point. Like I couldn't, in good faith, look at my guys and say we're just gonna go out there and try for a point, because it was clear that that's what they were doing, and that's what a lot of teams been doing. And that's not how you win titles. That's not how you win trophies. That's not how you set up a culture of we're going to perform at our best at all times and we're going to play our style.
Like here was the one I heard too, floated around on Twitter. Well, it was at Stamford Bridge, and anytime you get a point at Stamford Bridge, it's a good point. Bro,
nope.
There's no fans in the crowd.
Yeah.
There's no difference between going to Stamford Bridge, Anfield, it's all this season.
You can play that shit at Wembley for all I care.
It's all the same. It's an empty crowd. So going to Stamford Bridge there's no difference. Playing at Stamford Bridge is like playing at Sheffield United. There's nobody there.
Except the pitch is nicer.
The pitch is nice.
That's it.
That's it. So this whole the point away from home thing, which used to be like strategy.
This season
doesn't matter.
You ain't even got ball boys to worry about. Them fuckers are just propped up on cones.
Yep, just sitting there.
It's 38 training matches. It's the players, the coaches, and the refs. That's it. So I just don't like it. And I mean, not just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I think too many managers are doing this season. There's too many doing it. Like everybody's playing for a point. Like you have to win some matches. You can't draw your way to the Champions League.
No,
you got to win at some point.
You got to get points. You have to get multiple points. You can't, because a lot of times when you get a point, they consider you dropping points. That means you're not getting all three, and that's a problem. So, but right now it seems like people are cool with that, and I agree with you. I don't like that strategy at all. I'm real happy that regardless of how many wins that they've put out, every match Pep is going full board to get wins. He's not trying to just get a draw here. Every match he's putting out a strong group, and the players, you can tell since they last lost, you're not seeing them just going through the motions. Every guy is out there pressing and running their asses off the whole time. And I would not, I can't complain one bit. I would be upset as a fan if I, like Zach had this past weekend, where you could tell that they was just going through the motions and weren't trying. And you spend an hour and a half of your time just watching guys kick the ball back and forth and not really going for it.
Even Zach they have the excuse of a new manager, but Chelsea actually did things. I said, okay, this is an attempt to score.
Yeah.
It may not have come off great, but it's like, okay, there's ideas of what they're trying to do.
Thursday's going to be interesting.
Whereas you said what's going to be interesting?
Thursday's going to be interesting for us.
Against Liverpool? Yeah.
3:15 Thursday.
Yep. I'm telling you right now, Chelsea's going to walk away with 3 points in that match.
I can see it happen.
Liverpool's going to start their 127th different center back combination.
And they just lost Henderson for an extended period of time too.
6 weeks.
So they're continue to lose players.
That is, I am, obviously none of us are Liverpool fans, but that is the darndest thing I've ever seen.
It's rough.
The combination of circumstances that they've had, and it's not. I feel bad for them because they've had some situations that are just horrific.
Fuck that.
Klopp's mother.
The Klopp one, I am
Klopp's mother, Allison's father drowns in the swimming pool.
Yeah, I'm talking about the injuries.
Yeah,
the injury. It's just like it's just Murphy's law for y'all.
Yep.
Ready?
Anything that can go wrong in a season, it'll go wrong.
You ready? Watch. You saw that? Those were all the fucks that just flew away.
I'm pretty sure Germ said something about in the
It's his fault. It's his fault. I was fine till he provoked me. I did kind of see a funny meme, and it broke down. It said Virgil van Dijk, first choice center back, out injured, and then it went down the list, and it was like fourth was Jordan Henderson, first choice CDM, fourth choice center back, out, and then
it's crazy.
It
Well, they had like we talked about, they had 2 years of pretty much perfect health of all of their big name guys and not having.
And we talked about this in the
that's
preview.
what's crazy. We hit this. All three of us were on the same page with this at the beginning in our preview show for the season.
Like this all catches up at some point.
At one time.
And it has caught up crazy.
The rumor mill is churning hard on that head coaching spot right now.
On Klopp, you said the German national team?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, rumor has it that Klopp was going to take the German national team and from Joachim Low, and Stevie G is going to leave Rangers and come home to Anfield so he can slip on the pitch again.
Dude, I just saw that clip earlier today, and it was who was that? Was that Demba Ba that scored the goal?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Perfect timing.
So I could see that, Zach. And the reason I think I could see number one is apart from the fact this season is going just horrific for them. The manager life cycle, we all know, especially at the big clubs, is short anyway.
4 or 5 years max.
Shorter at some.
Yeah.
Well, your club is very short. But in general, there are no Wengers and Fergusons that are around with the same club for just year after year.
Pep's got to be the longest tenured coach right now, right? At a club.
Is he?
He's got to be. I don't know who else it could be.
I think Klopp came.
Burnley. Who's Burnley?
Deitch.
Deitch. Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Let me rephrase that. At a top 6 club.
It's definitely Pep and Jurgen both are at the same time.
Are about what 5.5 years. They are.
And I know Brendan Rodgers is fairly new too, right? At Leicester.
He took over like a year or two ago, so he's still pretty fresh. Because he came from what, Celtic?
Yeah.
Came from Celtic. So you figured the Klopp and Pep cycles at their respective clubs are closer to the end than they are at the beginning. So I could see it. I think he could just say, you know what? I took this team as far as I can go. This season was horrific. National football team duty is less stressful. I can go home.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And that could play a big role in his decision. Like that really that could be a bigger deal than that choice that people are thinking about. So
yeah, and I completely sympathize. Like that's awful. Like just having to losing a family member, losing your mother, and not being able to attend the funeral is awful. And that's like Tuchel and his coaching staff came from Paris, but they had to leave their families. Their families were not allowed to come, so they've been here in London, in a hotel room because they can't have their families. And like that's hard. That's hard on anybody.
I was, and that's why I was really surprised. That's why I think, Pep, and obviously they're rolling, but Pep has always been a guy back to Barcelona and Bayern, where Pep is like, you're not firing me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave you first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not you, it's me.
No, you're not gonna fire me. I'll fire you. And so I can see, especially if Man City wins the Champions League this year.
You mean when?
Champions League. You're saying when for Champions League?
For the record, Joe, he jinxed you, man.
I know. I know what he's doing.
Man City wins the Champions League. If you're Pep, you're like, look, there's your Champions League. Would it be 4 Prems?
Yep.
4 Prems. You got a 100-point season. You might get another 100-point season this year.
And the other season that they won was 99 points, by the way.
Pep might be like, look, here you go. That's good. I'm out of here.
Dude,
not because you want to do anything to him, but you like leave on the high.
Now, here's the thing with that. What club would he? Because he's not taking no mid-table club as a job. He's going to be looking for the next big thing. What's the next big challenge out there for him? What team would he potentially go to?
PSG.
Bingo.
It's the only league he hasn't conquered.
Because he won the Champions League with No, he didn't win it with Bayern.
He won the league a bunch of times, but
He won
not.
the league a bunch of times. Yeah, PSG that becomes
unless he takes over for the national team.
I think I agree with you.
But I mean, honestly,
I think these are the only two places you can go at this point.
I think the national team's a step down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is not the Spain of 10 years ago that was the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Your starting keeper choices are David No Hands De Gea and Kepa. I let the ball hit me in the face. Arita Balaga.
It would be interesting. So Pep, the circumstances may cause Pep to hang around, but Pep he's
got a great working relationship with the front office and the ownership there. So, and he has stated multiple times he'll be there until he doesn't want to be there anymore, or their relationship starts kind of
it'll be till he does it. It'll be till he decides to.
Yeah, because they're not going to fire him ever at this point. It's going to be up to him to say, I want a new challenge, and they'll accommodate him at that point. They'll do everything they can to keep him around. But if he decides that he wants a new challenge, then
can you imagine the city of Manchester when he leaves? The amount of sobbing is going to be.
I might need to get on a plane and take a trip out there for that one, man. Join my
nobody you hire is going to be good enough.
No, exactly. That's the thing. Like,
where do you go from there?
Stay. Don't go anywhere.
Where do you go from Pep?
Barcelona, when it was Barcelona never replaced them.
Nope.
Bayern's
doing fine. Hansi Flick's a hell of a coach.
Bayern just has that's a factory that
we don't do that here. We don't pair it for Bayern.
I maybe not right away, but I think Vincent Kompany would be a good choice down the road. I don't know if he's quite ready for that, but I think that would be a name to watch down the road.
What's the worst that happens? It's not like Lampard got fired or Arteta's going to get fired. That's
Arteta is
Arteta and Kompany would be the first two names on my list.
Arteta apparently is in the mix for the Barcelona game.
Really?
Which is incredibly interesting to me.
I wouldn't want to go down with that sinking ship.
Pass.
I think the only way Barca salvages anything is if they bring back Xavi.
They got to do something to reignite, because that fan base is not happy. That front office is a mess. It's just
they getting FBI. They getting whatever the Spanish FBI is. I don't know what the equivalent is, but their version of the FBI. They kick the door in, arresting the club. The team president gets arrested. $1 billion in debt. Yo,
I don't know who's in worse shape, them or Dortmund right now.
Financially,
I think it's Barcelona. I think Barcelona is in the worst shape of any major club.
Yeah, we'll see what happens if Dortmund doesn't make the Champions League.
Now, Dortmund doesn't make the Champions League.
Don't put that evil on.
I'm not.
Gary.
I want to see him in the Champions League. I like Dortmund. I'm a huge fan of Dortmund and what they're doing. Anybody that can take down the Bayern.
They're only
train.
They're only 3 points out of fourth place now, so they're right there in the mix.
Come on, Dortmund.
Don't they have? Didn't they just play a game today though? So are they a game behind?
No, everybody played. They're all 23 games.
So speaking of Champions League, let's get to leg 2 of the round of 16. And Tuesday, we're gonna preview Tuesday tonight because obviously it will have happened by the time we're here next week. Big Tuesday. Fellas, kind of give us the rundown because the two's matched up, what the aggregates look like, because we have I think we have a pretty epic night ahead of us next week.
Next Tuesday, the 9th, is going to be a couple of really good matchups. We have Juventus and Porto matching up. Porto is up 2-1 on aggregate, but they have 2 away goals there. So that's very, very important. We talked about that a little bit. And then we have Dortmund and Sevilla. Dortmund is up 3-2 aggregate wise. So that means going into this next match, remember that whatever goals are scored in leg 2 get added to the current scores from the first leg. So we'll see what the total score is by the end of those 2 matches. But we all kind of were expecting Juventus to handle their business, and Porto surprised us a little bit. And then we knew that Dortmund and Sevilla game was going to be where it was going to be.
I said I liked Porto at home. You can rewind that shit. Run that shit back.
Now Porto is up 2-1, but they're going back to Juventus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, they're not away. Yeah, those were home goals. Excuse me. Yeah, Juventus is the home team.
So, just a quick recap for the people. It's 2 legs. Whoever has the most total goals in 2 legs wins. If it's tied at the end of 2 legs, it's pinned. It's a away goal.
No, it's 30 minutes of extra time.
So 30 minutes extra time.
2 15-minute halves, and if there's away goals are in play, then it ends. If away goals aren't in play, then it goes to pens.
So we have our newly initiated folks. So Germ, who is behind the scenes, who has adopted Juventus. You need a 1-0 win would do, because it would be 2-2 on aggregate, but Juventus has the away goal. So
yep.
I expect Juventus to turn that around. I don't, Porto, will make it tough, but I would expect Juventus to turn that one around.
Here's the only thing I have to say about this. Since Cristiano Ronaldo has gone to Juve, they've actually been worse. Cristiano Ronaldo's fine, but they're not as good as they were prior to him. And I don't know what the deal is. I don't know.
I can tell you what it is. They have one of the drier midfields of any major side. Like, they don't have, like, we talk about the lack of creativity. Juventus plays with a very, very dry. I don't know what that's about, but
yeah, I'm looking at the names, and none of them really pop out off of the. They have a lot of nice forwards, but there's not a lot of link-up play in between.
Is Betancourt listed as a midfielder?
He is.
Chiesa's a forward, right?
Yep.
So they have McKinney and Betancourt. Is Pjanic still there?
No, he went the other way.
That's right.
So other midfielders, Aaron Ramsey, Juan Cuadrado is listed as a midfielder.
Who's a wing back.
And he's not really a midfielder. So there's not a lot of inspiring midfielder names there, which is a very important part of the pitch. So Rabiot.
I like Rabiot. I liked him better in Paris than I do at Juve.
Yep.
But I like Rabiot.
So they got some nice defenders, and they have a really nice attack, but there's not a lot of
nothing in between.
Interlinking.
Give me Porto in the shocker.
Okay. And the other 2 they match up is
Dortmund and Sevilla.
Dortmund and Sevilla. So
Sevilla is Trav's team. Trav against Jerry.
Trav against Jerry.
Dortmund leads that tie 3-2.
Yep.
And scored 3 times at Sevilla, which is
huge.
That's huge.
Scored 3 times. So Sevilla, Trav squad, has to go to Dortmund, and they have to win 2-0. They have to win by 2 goals.
Yep.
To go through.
No ties happening there. They're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Unless it's a really high-scoring match. So they're going to have to put in some goals and keep Dortmund out. So we shall see. But that was one of the ones that we circled as a very intriguing matchup, and that was a very hotly contested match towards the end there. They think that they score a lot towards the end.
Sevilla it was 3-1 in like the 85th minute, and Sevilla got that last-ditch goal, which really helped, because if they didn't get that, it'd have been tough sledding to get 2 goals and you're down 3 away goals. Like, that's
And then Wednesday, we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. But Wednesday, you have Barcelona PSG, which could be the final time we see Messi
in the
in a
Champions League.
Champions League match for Barcelona.
I think that's a distinct possibility.
The last time.
He's going to enter Miami.
He wants to go play for Beckham, man.
Yep.
And then who's the other Wednesday matchup?
Liverpool. Leipzig.
Liverpool, that's a
2.0.
2-0, pretty comfortable going to Leipzig.
It's home.
Yeah, they're back at home.
It's at Anfield. That's over.
Liverpool, even with that makeshift defense, should not give up 3. Should not lose 3-0 at home.
They're going to call in a guest manager, and they're going to bring in Jose, and they're going to put 10 behind the ball and just coast for 90 minutes.
My man,
good.
My man Jose. Always. The bus depot is always in effect. All right, so to close out the night, know your role, the MLS. So yes, we have Major League Soccer, which kicks off, I believe, in March. Is it March or
March?
April? March.
Yep.
Okay, so Zach and Joe, because I don't follow MLS like you all, so I'm gonna let you all run this segment. What makes the MLS so different?
Everything.
From Europeans? Explain it to me.
So basically, like Big Shot said, seasons are completely different. They run March to about November or December, whereas all the other European leagues run from about August to May. You don't have promotion and relegation, so you don't have to worry about going down and playing against the Las Vegas Lights of the USL. And then it's reverse standing. So like every other American sport, there's a draft for college kids and things like that. Obviously, the worst record gets the best pick, and then you can sign to them. They are still eligible to transfer in players and sell them, just like any other European club. They do a lot more selling than they do buying. Although this year they've seen an influx of bringing back some designated players. I could go into designated players, but that's just a headache that has to do with salary caps and things like that. Salaries are a big thing. The average MLS player makes about 100 to 150,000 a year. That ain't a week like you see over in Europe. That's
right.
A year. I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. Joe, what do you got?
They have conferences just like the rest of the pro sports. There's an Eastern and Western Conference pretty much, and there are playoffs. So this is not a
playoffs.
Talking about playoffs.
Yeah,
so there are playoffs for this for MLS. It's a much more traditional Americanized setup.
The MLS is very American. Obviously, it's here in America, but it is the format, how it's run. It's super American.
There is a Champions League for MLS. It's the CONCACAF. The CONCACAF is the confederation that hosts the North America, South America, and like the
Central America.
Central America. Sorry. That's what I was looking for. And so like there's usually 3 or 4 teams from the MLS that make the CONCACAF Champions League. It runs very similar to what you see in Europe, just not as exciting. So yeah, there's that. Joe, what else you got for him?
I think that's the big thing, is that it's much more similar to the American schedules when it comes to American sports leagues. The playoffs is a big thing because that's drastically different from all the other big leagues. I've been getting into it a lot more recently. I wasn't a big MLS fan, but the past couple of years, my buddy Dave has gotten me into it a lot more. Started doing some fantasy soccer with the MLS, and that definitely has helped.
That's dreadful.
It's fantasy though. Fantasy's fun. I like
You
it.
you're committed to fantasy when you play MLS.
LS, yeah, you ain't kidding.
That's like playing fantasy hockey.
Last season, before all the shutdown and everything, there was a lot more spending going on. There was a lot more players getting brought in, so it's growing. It's gotten a lot better. I think there's a better talent pool, and there's been
You're
a
seeing
lot
bigger
of
names.
yeah, and a lot of the youth players from some of the academies over here, because they do have academies over here with the MLS clubs. A lot of the younger players from over here have been getting loaned out to some of the European clubs more. So we're seeing.
You mean FC Dallas?
Yeah, mostly all of Dallas players, but we're seeing more players coming from MLS going to some of the other bigger leagues. So it's on the upswing for sure. Before it was kind of just a place where it still is kind of where the older stars from Europe will come to the stateside when they're in their mid to late 30s and continue their career a little bit longer. And they're bigger names, but they might not be as good as they once were, but they're there to draw fans and to kind of promote the league a little bit. So
yeah, there was a stretch where it was like Gerard, I think Frank Lampard played.
Yep.
Andrea Pirlo played.
Sebastian Giovinco was there.
Yeah. Thierry Henry played for the Red Bulls.
Yes, he did.
But he was like legit still. But everybody else, you could tell it was like, yeah, let me get this last check.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Blaise Matuidi's doing right now in Inter Miami.
Blaise is just down there to be in South Beach.
Yes.
That
man's won everything that he needs to win. He's like, let me cash this check. Let me live by the fine honeys. And
you know where you can really tell, guys, because I do know this about MLS. I know the Galaxy are not good, but it's LA.
It's the Galaxy. So the Galaxy were fine. The Galaxy were fine until LAFC came in. When LAFC became a team, the Galaxy kind of fell by the wayside. Now LAFC is the team to go. That's where you see Carlos Vela. He's there, and that's the team that everybody wants to go to. You go out to LA and live it up, and
it's $150,000 and go live in LA for the summer.
Man,
deal.
Just go hang out in LA. David Beckham's team. Go live
and that's
in
why
Miami.
I never understood like why guys like Sebastian Giovinco. Okay, you came to the MLS, but then you go to Toronto. Like, bro, why? Why?
I heard nice things about Toronto.
I'm sure they're super nice people. No offense to any Torontoans, but nah. That's why, like, I've never, as a Columbus Crew fan, I have never once been like, "Yep, he's gonna come to Columbus. Watch this." No.
Rooney came over recently. Played in DC.
Rooney played for DC United.
Like I was at his opening match. That was fun.
Yeah, so
it hurt me a little bit though. It did hurt me a little bit to see, because I'm a DC United fan, obviously, and seeing him and somewhat cheering a Wayne Rooney goal hurt a little bit. I won't lie, just a little bit.
Did you buy a jersey?
Nope. I have a DC United jersey, but there's no name or number on the back. When I went to go get my stuff for the game, though, that's all they had as far as jerseys that had names on the back. All it was Rooney stuff. And I was like, yeah, not happening. Ain't happening here.
So
as we get closer to the MLS season, I think we'll do a deeper dive on the MLS.
We can do a season preview.
We'll do a season preview for MLS. Why not? So
Columbus is the defending champions.
Columbus, which is another for our newly initiated. Look up the story of the Columbus Crew. A really interesting story from a team that was on the verge of being moved to come back and now win the MLS Cup for the city that they were supposed to move from. So that's a really interesting story.
In the final season of the stadium that was the very first soccer specific stadium built in the United States was Columbus Crew Stadium.
The Columbus Crew. Yeah. So it's, you know, as you continue to deeper dive to the sport, some very interesting things. So remember, next Tuesday night we'll be back. Champions League wrap up, further Champions League preview. By the time we come back, Man City will be up another 19 points. They'll be up like 37,000 points. By the time we come back Tuesday. But I think we will, deep dive into the Champions League and probably look at some of the other things around Europe. The Barcelona situation, as much as we laugh about it, there's some really kind of some implications to this, depending on how far it goes. So we'll take a look at that. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube, notifications on. Stoppage Time FC is a Facebook page. Stoppage Time FC is on Twitter. Follow all the socials, the Facebook fan page, the Instagram, the Twitter. We are everywhere. Ron, Joe, Zach, Germaldo behind the camera. Stoppage Time FC signing out.